Good evening. I'm happy to be here with you this evening because what we see here today, I've been in it for over 20 years. I recall the days when we used to gather somewhere at Ocean View Hotel, when we used to preach to Guyana that our climate is going to be changing and changes to the extent that if we don't take care, it might be difficult for us to live on Earth. We used to ask technicians then come together because Guyana is going to implement some laws that are going to affect you as a practicing technician. That pretty soon you might be out of work. Every day most of them come to Mr. Chinedu what to do. I remember recently I told one of them, I told you all before, we are warned. But notwithstanding there is a hope. Just came back from a refrigeration conditioning fair and exposition in Sao Paulo. We are almost all refrigerant and equipment manufacturers gathered to discuss this whole issue. And I believe I'm going to share some things with you this evening that might be relevant to what we're doing and probably answer some of the questions that Doc had just asked as to what do we do to make sure that we move forward both as a nation and as individuals. I want to read some presentations or read my statement. I hope I'm going to get those extra minutes they didn't use so I can add it to my bit 7 minutes. Because if I'm left to speak, I might speak all night. Colleagues, let me inform you that ozone depletion, what we're doing today, dated back to 1974 when Dr. Molina presented the hypothesis that showed that chlorine that is released in the atmosphere is responsible for the depletion of the ozone layer. When he made that statement, DuPont and all those major companies wanted to eat him alive, literally eat him alive. But some persons that knew better told themselves it was just a matter of time that the world will be clamoring for us to do something to protect the environment. The discovery of the ozone layer, depletion of the ozone layer, depleted by chlorine. A majority of those chlorine are used by HVAC equipment, meaning that heating, refrigeration, ventilation, and air conditioning equipment. That discovery, of course, led to all these protocols we are speaking to now. So it's always good that we give credit to Dr. Molina for the work they've done in ensuring that they opened our eye as to what is happening in our environment, which to us we are blind to during that time. We've heard this evening that the Montreal Protocol dealt with the banning of ozone depleting substances. And the Kigali Protocol, or agreement, is going to be dealing with the reduced phase out. Sometimes I don't like those phrases we use. They call it phase down. At that conference, I told them there is no need of us phasing down. We should eliminate it completely because there are solutions. It's just that you don't embrace that solution at the moment. The Kigali is going to be dealing with the greenhouse gases, those that cause the environment to warm. What this deadline gives us are phase reduction in production, distribution, and usage of these gases that are classified as being detrimental to the environment. Colleagues, the consequences of this reduction affects every human soul on Earth. Because there is no activity, there is no endeavor on this Earth that has no relation, that doesn't have a relationship to air conditioning, including the technology we are enjoying today. Persons going to the moon, without the connection, there will be no going to the moon. The persons that are more impacted in their livelihood are those that are probably earning their livelihood from practicing air conditioning and refrigeration. The main objective, therefore, though, for us today is to ensure that human beings, as we are, we are giving climatized environment. That's what air conditioning, refrigeration, heating and ventilation does, to give us climatized environment so that we can be comfortable where we are. Ensure that food is preserved. Because again, without refrigeration, the food we produce will just perish. And we know what is happening with food scarcity around the world. And we want to also have life that are in an environment that is protected. Some of us see all these things that are happening as negative. Some see opportunities. I want us to see opportunities. Guyana has found oil. There are opportunities in what is happening here. Notwithstanding that, the agreement is going to be giving us maybe some funding or some agreement. Possibility exists that Guyana could be a manufacturer of one of these refrigerants. And I can tell you, UNDP, in a discussion with them recently, they've told us that there is no country in the world except Calor gas in Britain that produces one of those gases that are naturally used. However, there's a problem with it, except a factory or a refinery in Nigeria that they are currently funded to refine hydrocarbons, which is one of the gases that's being used. So Guyana having found oil, that can be an opportunity. We are not only going to get benefit from multilateral funding us and helping us, there are very high possibility that we can use some of those gases even as for refrigerants. But I want to address you on three main topics, on three main areas that involve ozone depletion, the air conditioning system, the replacement of refrigerants, the look for and search for alternative refrigerant. Where are we going? Where are we? And what is it that the international community is speaking to us, saying about these refrigerants? Again, technology has a lot to do with efficiency. And you cannot speak about environment and carbon dioxide without speaking efficiency of your equipment. So I'm going to address you in some of those, as well as what we call these days OITs, Internet of Things. It's in refrigeration and is here with us in almost everything we do. Refrigerant. Colleagues, when you look at the number of refrigerant that is around us today that are possible alternative replacements for those that we are phasing out, to dazzle your mind, we're having them in thousands. All you need to do is, if you have the possibilities, to consult a software that is developed by NASA. It's called REPROF, Refrigerant Property. Then they have, the 10th version right now. It gives you about, at the moment, about 30 pure refrigerants or substances on Earth that you can mix together at any proportion. You mix in 4, 5, 6 refrigerants at any proportion, and you can get a refrigerant. Colleagues, note, anything substance that can change phase can become a refrigerant. The good news, though, is that there are things that has to be satisfied before such substances are accepted as refrigerants. Because for any refrigerant to be used, it must be accepted, it must be researched on, and then ASHRAE, which is the American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Engineers, should assign a corner to it, as well as a number for it to be recognized and for it to be used. So that probably what will help us to limit the abundance of that number of refrigerants we have. Now, if you follow the history of refrigerant, from the time Carrier patented the first mechanical refrigeration system, as to what we have today, it seems as though we're going back, or we're going in a cycle. Where in the late 1900s, when the first set of mechanical refrigeration systems were discovered, we are using gases that are available to us naturally, including the hydrocarbons, the ammonia, the carbon dioxide, the Doc mentioned, the sulfur dioxide. Unfortunately, some of these refrigerants they have some security issues, as we call them. Some are flammable, some are toxic. The hydrocarbon is flammable. The ammonia is toxic. The carbon dioxide has a lot of high pressure that you have to use a very thick material for you to use them. Now in the 1930s, there was that discovery of these, what we call the CFCs today. Then they were called the best man-made gas ever discovered. Know that phrase, the best man-made gas. But today they are probably the worst enemy on earth. Now added to this natural refrigerant, we have a next, what we call the fourth generation of refrigerants. These are pure substances. We've had the hydrocarbons. These are saturated hydrocarbons. Now we're doing lecturing, right? We're doing lecturing, so I can do some lecturing. We have the hydrocarbons. We have for the hydrocarbons we got the CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons. We have the HFCs. Then we have the HFC. We have the HCFC. Now the latest ones are the HFOs. These are the hydrofluoroolefins. Now these are substances, now instead of what we had before as the CFCs that are from the saturated hydrocarbon, the HFOs are made from unsaturated hydrocarbons. Persons have been asking, if we are to go in that direction, are we going to go back to considering HFOs as good or the best man-made substances, not knowing what they're going to cost to us tomorrow? Or do we go to things that we already know, but however they have some consequences which we can address? During the conversation recently, we are told to be cautious as we face or go through what is now called the transition period from these banned refrigerants to what is going to be the refrigerants of tomorrow. Because the refrigerants we know, they are hazardous to us. But the concern again is the HFOs, we don't know what they are as yet. Notwithstanding, we are producing them as refrigerants, yes. Colleagues, though, the major concern here is why you're seeing this too much number of refrigerants is that when we design an equipment, the fridge, a refrigerator, an AC in your car is designed for a particular gas. There is no other substance on earth that can replace that gas and give you the exact characteristics. So that's why there's much abundance of gases, and that's why there's so much such. Because there are billions worth of equipment that have to be used that you cannot throw away. So there is a need to look for alternatives that can replace those refrigerants you're going to throw away in this equipment so that it can work. So the question therefore is, we have refrigeration systems that are working. We have to look for alternatives because you don't have any other refrigerant just like that, which you can put into it. Say, for example, you have a car that is designed to work with fuel or gasoline. You cannot put diesel into it. It has to be fuel or gasoline that is designed for. When they were asked, some companies were asked at this forum in Brazil as to what would you recommend or what help would you give to small nations that only consume what you produce? The only thing they could tell us is train, and more training. Now, most likely, the ambassador will help make sure that countries like Guyana, where we have an estimated 1,000 technicians, where, as was mentioned by the Honorable Minister, over 50% of them are untrained or they don't have any qualification that can help them function in the industry. There is indeed that intense need to have the funding, the assistance, the technology to ensure that these technicians are trained and retrained. Because the substances we are getting today, they are unlike the CFCs we know. CFC is a refrigerant that is cool, is good. You can use it, sometimes you can throw it anyhow, cut it, you don't have any problem with it. But the refrigerant we have now, they are very either toxic or they are flammable. So we must make sure that these technicians are trained and trained very well. Efficiency, just to go in there. The talk in town amongst technicians is this whole issue of inverters. Almost every equipment we have today is contracted with inverter. Our technicians don't know what inverter means. They don't know how to handle it. So again, more need for us to ensure that our technicians are trained, and retrained. Trained in the sense that when a technician services a system, one of the characteristics they should look for is to make sure that that new system which they will service must give them similar characteristics like what it was before, meaning that it should not consume more current, which will mean more CO2 in the atmosphere. So the question has been raised as to, can we get our technicians to ensure, or how do we get our systems to ensure that any new equipment that we bring to replace an old one, any new equipment that we service or repair, do not produce more CO2? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense if we are replacing the refrigerant and we are doing servicing that is giving more or doing more harm to the environment than the one that was there previously. It's like somebody said before, we're having these electric cars. Does it make an environmental sense for you to use an electric car that is being charged from a grid that is being produced using fossil fuel? That's the question that we ask ourselves sometimes, because at the end of the day, it's just CO2 that's been emitted, which is not a direct contribution, but an indirect contribution to the environment. The Internet of Things, again, they call for more and more training for our technicians. Colleagues, we are at what is being called the 5th industrial revolution, where the Internet, the robots are going to be taking over what we are doing. If we look at the recent report from the World Economic Forum of 2008, we are being told that there are millions of jobs that are going to be replaced, while new roles are going to be developed. The question therefore, again, training, is the case where the Internet of Things is going to eliminate, this is not sounding a warning to our technicians, it's probably going to require them to ensure that they understand what is happening. Because as it is right now, the industry may not need you as a technician, because I don't have to be in your house to fix your AC. I could be in Miami and watching what your AC is doing, your refrigeration system, what it's doing. All I need to do is to ask somebody to go and change a component, and that AC is okay with. So again, colleagues, we have to make sure that our technicians, our service industry is maintained and they do not suffer much consequences as that this is going to bring to us. So I'm going, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave this discussion at this point. I know probably I would have raised something that's going to cause some curiosity for our discussion this evening. So thank you so much.